What's good, YouTube? Stormy B-Man, and I'm back with another pre-fight video breakdown. Before we get started, I'd like to say shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den boxing community, and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This Saturday, we are going to see a lightweight showdown between Vasily Lomachenko and Masayoshi Nakatani. He who has burst on the scene within the past couple of years after a couple of particular showdowns, and Vasily, who's looking to bounce back from one of the opponents that Nakatani faced. This showdown should have a lot riding. There are no titles on the line, and both men are seeking to get right back into title contention and for a title shot immediately. What will we see from these two men when they show off against this Saturday, the 26th of June, will be up to anyone's imagination. But I expect fireworks simply because of the risk at stake. As we talk about this fight, it must be understood that this is one of those bouts that if you don't tune in, you may miss something a little bit special. Neither man alone would draw the ire of the boxing fan and observer, but as I said, what's online means more. Let's speak on Masayoshi Nakatani first. He is coming off of a tremendous fight where he scored a TKO victory over Felix Verdejo, and he stopped Verdejo in the 9th round of a 10-round fight where Verdejo had him in trouble and had him on the canvas early. But if we go back in Nakatani's history, we'll see that in July of 2019, he took on Teofimo Lopez. And in that fight, it was Nakatani's coming out party. Lopez at the time was 13-0 and went on in that fight to have a unanimous decision over Nakatani, who was quite tall at the weight class at 5'11.5 with a 71-inch reach. He's an orthodox fighter out of Japan, and he has a record of 19-1 with 13 KOs. The fight with Teofimo Lopez was a coming out party of sorts for Nakatani, and it was supposed to be a showcase fight for Lopez. But Lopez struggled in this fight. He had a lot of difficulty trying to get inside on Nakatani's reach and height advantages. Nakatani proved to be durable, he could take shots, and he was able to keep Lopez uncomfortable throughout the bout. I felt particularly at the end of that bout that he deserved a decision, albeit a close one, over Lopez. But it wasn't to be, because Lopez was the house fighter that night. He was the showcase fighter that night, and Nakatani was a complete unknown. He would have had to knock Lopez out to get that victory, and that's understood. But when we flash forward to the fight that Vasily Lomachenko had with Lopez, it was similar in the sense that Lomachenko got going early late against Lopez, where he gave away practically the first 6 rounds by doing not much at all. In the wash, it has come out that he may have entered the fight with some injuries, but that's neither here nor there, because when you go into that ring for a match, people are expecting you showing up at your best. And at the end of the day, if you're not ready to go, you shouldn't go. So I won't harp on that one iota. But I do know that in the later rounds of the fight, particularly like from rounds 8 through 12, Vasily was able to put the heat on Teofimo, and he didn't look comfortable himself, meaning Teofimo, as Vasily turned the heat up on him. But when he faces off this Saturday against Masayoshi, he's going to have difficulty. The difficulties that lie with Vasily Lomachenko start with his own height. With the height of 5'7" and only a 65.5-inch reach, Vasily is not the most rangiest of guys. And his footwork, which was so vaunted by the press and those who were promoting, it turns out that it's not necessarily the most agile of footwork, but he has movement that is just enough to offset opponents. He's able to move laterally well, and when he does put his punches together, he has shown hand speed, and at the lower weights he showed power. With a record of 14-2 with 10 KOs, Vasily is now an elder statesman in the division. He's 33 years old, and with his decision loss to Teofimo Lopez, he wants to get back into the title hunt right away. By taking on an opponent such as Nakatani, it's showing that Vasily is willing to risk his position in the sport and what he has to offer. But will it be enough just having the desire to get back in there to the top of the mountain with these championships? We don't know that. We will find out. Coming off of his loss with Teofimo, prior to that he had faced Luke Campbell, and in the Luke Campbell fight he won a unanimous decision, but he didn't look very good in that fight either, as Campbell was touching him up and putting a lot of pressure on him, and Vasily was starting to show his age. Now, with Nakatani being a more fierce and competitive fighter who has more desire to win and also has the fortitude, he fights out of Japan, and he fights with an edge. He knows that he's a foreigner. He knows that he will not necessarily get the benefit of the doubt, so he takes risks, and that's a good thing when you see a fighter taking risks. Nakatani is 32, but he's a 32-year-old with only 20 fights, and in those fights he has primarily defeated his opponents quite easily. It was only when he stepped up with Teofimo and then Felix Verdejo that he was really experiencing the challenge of an opponent. And again, now with Vasily Lomachenko, who's the biggest name ever on his record, this is the type of fight that a fighter like he can really get up for, knowing that championship possibility is just around the corner, and it would possibly be against a guy who he's already faced, and I thought he earned a majority split decision in Teofimo Lopez. Nakatani could be really primed to show something special against Vasily Lomachenko. If he could stop Vasily Lomachenko, boy, would that do wonders and a huge shot in the arm for his opportunities on the horizon. Now, Vasily, on the other hand, knows that if he defeats Masayoshi, it will do the same for his career and catapult him back into that opportunity for a rematch against Teofimo. Will Teofimo look to give Vasily a rematch, or Nakatani a rematch, if either guy wins? It remains to be seen. He is currently not even interested in fighting the person he was tabbed to fight recently, George Kambosos, and he has pulled out of that fight, citing that he has come down with COVID, which some people feel that that's an angled story because he really wasn't prepared for the fight. Who knows? Today's fighters are so questionable with their ethic. You don't never know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you this that's going to happen. In this fight this Saturday, Nakatani has a chance to really place himself at the top of the sport, just under the champions. And Vasily Lomachenko has a chance to show that maybe his loss to Teofimo Lopez was a fluke, and possibly he did go in with an injury, but we don't know. All we know is this is a good fight between two good fighters and former contenders, where somebody is going to get knocked offline with a victory here, and someone else is going to ascend to unlimited possibilities. Vasily Lomachenko should really go in with aggression in this fight. Against Teofimo, he gave away 6 rounds right off the bat, and it didn't fare well for him as he tries to close the gap late. He won't be able to do that against Mayanoshi because he's a shorter man, has a shorter reach, and he's going to have to find a way to get on the inside and work this man and break him down. Masayoshi, on the other hand, has a little bit of pop on his punches, and if Vasily is caught reckless, he could be dropped, just like Felix Verdejo was. And he seems to get stronger as the rounds go on. That's something about some of these fighters out here. You have to watch their pacing, because he may be saving a little something just in case the more experienced Vasily Lomachenko tries to pull a late round rally. Nakatani may want to have something to contest with him and compete with him with in the later rounds. A very interesting fight. I don't know, but if I were going to put wage on this, I would go with Nakatani. The only reason is Vasily lied to us going into his bout with Teofimo, saying he was ready to go and didn't perform like it. Whether he was injured going in or not, who knows? But Nakatani is the type of guy who's going to go in and try to win from first bell. So I have to lean toward Nakatani in this, and from here going forward, as long as he fights, Vasily Lomachenko is going to have to prove it to me and show something to us. These are my thoughts on this fight. Let me know what you think. Leave comments. This is Stormy B-Man. That's all I have for you at this time. Until the next time we speak, peace, and everyone remain safe.